Hi, welcome to Geography Now with Ms. Shana Day. Our topic for today is developing map skills. By the end of this lesson, students should be able to 1. Read and interpret conventional symbols. 2. Locate places using 4 and 6-figure grid reference. Map symbols. Now, objects on a map are represented using a variety of symbols. These are point symbols which represent such things as buildings and trig stations. Line symbols are used to represent things like roads, railways, and rivers. Area symbols are used to represent things such as vegetation, cultivation, and the sea. The meaning of these symbols is contained in the key. It is important that you study the key very carefully whenever you are presented with a map. The picture shows a key for a map of Bastillery St. Christopher. It contains symbols one would find on a typical topographical map of the Caribbean. Let's study it carefully. Now, most of the items in the key are pretty straightforward and therefore need no further explanation. However, on the right side of the key, the 4th item from the top reads Contours VI50. Now this requires some explanation. Now a contour is a line which joins points of equal elevation, height above sea level, on a surface. On a map, they're usually brown. Now VI stands for vertical interval, which is the difference in elevation between one contour line and the next. On this map, the vertical interval is 50 units. Since the heights on this particular map are given in feet, VI 50 means that the difference in height, which is vertical interval, between one contour line and the next one is 50 feet. Now let us look at 4-figure grid references. Now on many maps, one can see a number of vertical and horizontal lines. These lines crisscross each other to form a neat pattern of squares known as a grid. This grid covers the entire map. Take a look at this grid below. It is similar to the ones you will see on a typical map. Now the vertical lines which run from the north to the south, example 21 and 22, are known as eastings. The horizontal lines which run from east to west, for example 45 and 46, are known as northings. Now every easting and northing has its own 2-digit number which can be found at either end of it. Eastings increase in value as one moves to the right, towards the east on the map. Northings increase in value as one moves towards the top, which is to the north of the map. Each square on the grid is known as a grid square. One can give the location of an object or objects on a map by naming the grid square in which it is located. Lucky for you, it is a very simple process. Now, giving a 4-figure grid reference, look at the grid on the screen. One square has been shaded. How can you easily identify this square? A simple way is to give the 4-figure grid reference for that square. This is done by stating the number of eastings which runs along the left side of the square. Now in this case, it's 22. Followed by the number of northing which runs along the bottom of it. In this case, 47. Therefore, 2,247 is the 4-figure grid reference for this entire grid square, or anything inside of it. It is important to note that the easting must always be stated first, followed by the northing. Simply put, the vertical line comes before the horizontal line, like when you write a capital L. Also, you must not leave a space between the eastings and northing. Furthermore, a grid reference must not contain dots, commas, hyphens, or any other crazy stuff for that matter. In other words, the 4-figure grid reference for the square shaded in the grid above, or anything which is inside of the square, is simply 2,247. Not 22 space 47, not 22 comma 47, not 22 dot 47, nor 22 dash 47. Always remember that to give the 4-figure grid reference for an object, you must state the number of eastings immediately to its left, followed by the northings directly under it. Here's a very good useful tip. Now, if an easting or northing crosses an object, then that easting or northing will form part of a 4-figure grid reference for that object. For instance, if eastings 22 crosses over an object, such that part of the object is in the grid square 2247, and the other part is in the grid square 2147, then the 4-figure grid reference for the object would be 2247 or 2,247. 6-figure grid references. Now, 4-figure grid references are indeed very useful. However, a major weakness of the 4-figure grid reference is the fact that they are not very accurate. Although objects in the same grid square have the same 4-figure grid reference, even though they may be hundreds of meters apart, when greater accuracy is necessary, a 6-figure grid reference is used. Now, a 6-figure grid reference does not only indicate the grid square an object is located in, it also tells us the exact point within the grid square where the object is found. Therefore, objects located in the same grid square will have the same 4-figure grid reference, but different 6-figure grid references. Now, how to give a 6-figure grid reference? A 6-figure grid reference takes the form EEXNNY. EE represents the easting, which is immediately to the left of the object, and NN represents the northing, which is directly under it. Therefore, EE and NN represent the 4-figure grid reference from the object in question. X is a digit where it tells us how close to or how far away from the easting the object is located. The higher the number, the further away from the easting the object is. Similarly, Y is a digit which tells us how close to or far away from the northing the object is found. X and Y can have a value ranging from 0 to 9. Look at the grid square below. Look at the letter A, located within the square. The 4-figure grid reference for A is 2345. However, 2345 is also the 4-figure grid reference for any object which lies anywhere in this grid square. We can give the exact location of this A by giving a 6-figure grid reference. Let us take it step by step. Step 1. Remember, a 6-figure grid reference takes the form EEXNNY. The first 2 digits represent the easting immediately to the left of the object. The easting to the left of A is 23. Therefore, we have our first two digits. The third digit, x, represents the distance between easting 23 and A. To determine this, we need to divide the space between easting 23 and easting 24 into 10 equal parts, as seen in the diagram. The lines are parallel to our easting, are an equal distance apart from each other. Let's call these lines mini eastings. Now we need to count the number of mini eastings that are between eastings 23 and A. In this case, there are 4. Therefore, our third digit is 4. So the first part of our six-figure grid reference is 234. Step 2. Now the fourth and fifth digits in a six-figure grid reference represent the northing, which is directly under the object. In this case, it is northing 45. The sixth digit tells us the distance between the northing 45 and the object. We must divide the space between northings 45 and 46 into 10 equal parts. Now once again, the lines are parallel to northing 45 and are an equal distance apart. Let us call these lines mini northings. We must count the number of mini northings which are between northing 45 and A. In this case, there are 7 of them. Therefore, 7 will be the last digit in our six-figure grid reference. The second part of our grid reference is 457 or 457. Our entire six-figure grid reference is 234,457. Remember, the first two digits represent the eastings immediately to the left of the object. In this case, easting 23. The third digit, 4, represents the distance between the easting and our object. In this case, the object is roughly 4/10 of the distance between easting 23 and easting 24. The fourth and fifth digits represent the northing directly under our object. In this case, northing 45. The sixth digit represents the distance between the northing and our object. In this case, the object is roughly 7/10 of the distance between northing 45 and northing 46. Note, if the position of A was such that it lays directly on mini easting 4 or mini northing 7, its six-figure grid reference would still be 234,457. The two steps shown need not to be done separately. Your mini eastings and mini northings can be drawn such that they form a smaller grid inside the grid square, in which the object is located. The six-figure grid reference can be completed by using the number of mini eastings immediately to the left of the object and the number of mini eastings directly under it. So this brings us to the end of our lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in to Geography Now. See you next time. Bye.